Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo leaving their teams is inevitable. I'd even say that they're already gone. It's just a matter of where they're going to go. This is also perfect timing for the New York Knicks, as they are clearly changing things up this offseason, starting with the firing of Tom Thibodeau, even though they just won the most playoff games in their history. Well, not in their history, but in the last 25 years of Knicks history, dating back to the year 2000. And this is back when they were really bad at drafting. And yeah, quick side note, they haven't been great at drafting recently, don't get me wrong, but there was a 5-year stretch that ended around the year 2000 where there wasn't a single first-round pick that panned out for the New York Knicks. Every player in those 5 years either only played 1 season with them, only played 3 seasons with them, but the total games played was like 50, or they drafted someone in the middle of the first round that never touched the NBA floor. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, this is an impressive year. However, and now we're getting to my opinion, I think this is completely warranted to not be completely satisfied with the conference finals loss. I believe their loss was due to bad roster construction. Yes, the Pacers are on a heater, but it wasn't just bad luck. This team, as constructed, ain't winning next year either. I think there are 2 different routes that the Knicks can take to become a championship favorite next year, which is trading for a superstar or creating a really solid team of 9 solid players. And although I'll always take a really good all-around team to beat a high talented starting lineup, I actually think adding a superstar is a lot easier of a route. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about if the Knicks actually have much of a choice, who should they choose, how getting KD or Giannis would actually work, and how successful I think they'll be. But first, yes, this Knicks roster is heavily flawed. You can make a legitimate argument that the Knicks currently have the worst point guard and center defenders in the league, and they're playing 40 plus minutes in the playoffs. Even if they're not the worst to you, undeniably top 5. I think it's possible to hide bad defenders around a good defense, but when you have 2 of them on the court during most of the game, you're just putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. And then offensively, you have a top 5 offensive point guard and top 5 offensive center, but then you have a bunch of talented role players, but in my opinion, not so talented at actually being a role player, because when your 3rd to 4th offensive option is shooting mostly mid-ranges, the numbers just say it's a bad shot. If you're going to risk this Brunson Cat thing, your 3-and-D guys gotta actually be 3-and-D, which Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart are not. I can go into way more depth, but I really don't want to make this a Knicks rant video. So how did the Knicks combat this? Well, Cat has to go. It's probably annoying for himself and Knicks fans as he was just traded there last year, but I think it's obvious we've already learned that their defensive liabilities cannot coexist. Adding Giannis is an obvious fix. He's a much better player, better defender, can run pick and rolls with Brunson, can give Brunson a lot of rest, and so on. Kevin Durant fixes this by giving New York a star offensive player who is at the very least not a defensive liability. Now, he will barely be turning 37 at the start of next season, so maybe his defense gets slightly worse, but his offense has shown no sign of slowing down, and he'd honestly be a much better fit with Brunson, as Giannis recently has been a much more ball-dominant player, and I mean rightfully so. But the idea is to get one of them and then build a solid 8-man rotation with hopes that one of these rookies the Knicks have pans out to be someone who can play in the playoffs if injuries happen, at least as long as they don't have to be included in a trade. My bet would be on Tyler Kolek, but I see potential for NBA minutes in all of them. Now, do the Knicks actually get to choose between Giannis and Durant? I believe they do, but we really don't know what both of these players want. I think the Bucks front office would respect Giannis if he were to give them a list of teams he would want to be traded to. Would New York be on that list? I don't know, but if I were to guess, I'd lean toward yes. New York has passionate fans, is a great city in one of the largest markets in the world, and you get to play alongside a young, or younger at least, superstar in Brunson. I think it would take like a 3, 4, or 5 team trade, as the Bucks would want to get much younger than guys like Cat and OG, but it is possible, but not easy. I would guess Kevin Durant has a list of teams he wants to go, and the Suns might take that into consideration, but they're not doing everything they can to accommodate him, so KD could be traded wherever, and then a KD trade wouldn't be as complicated. Let's talk about it. What are some realistic trades for either of them? Well, I could see a KD trade be as easy as a 1-for-1 swap between him and Cat. Both make a very similar amount of money next year, so besides the Knicks throwing in a minimum contract rookie, this is very possible. I truly wonder how much teams value each player. I mean, yes, Kevin Durant is still a top 10 player, but he's on a 1-year deal at the age of 36, 37, has been a bit more injury prone since his Golden State days, and could just flat out leave next offseason if he wanted to. On the other hand, while Cat is overpaid and a defensive liability, you get an elite big talent for 3 years minimum. He fits Booker's timeline perfectly, has chemistry, not in the zesty way, or at least I don't think, with Booker, and helps the Suns with their big problem. Maybe y'all and general managers feel differently, but I think it's a perfect swap. Giannis is where it gets a bit more difficult, so I created this trade using Fanspo as a route that the trade could get done. Like I said, I see no way Giannis lands on the Knicks unless at least 4 teams are included in the trade, so if this looks like a mess, it has to be. To summarize the trade, The Bucks trade Giannis to get Desmond Bane, some young prospects, and 3 future first-round picks. The Knicks trade everyone besides Brunson and OG to get Giannis and a bunch of old role players who would likely need to be in the playoff rotation, for the better or worse. And before I continue, Giannis is my personal best player in the world and undisputably top 3. So yes, y'all are left with nearly nothing, Knicks fans, but it is Giannis. Hornets trade a bunch of role players, Nick Smith and a first for Cat and Josh Hart, and the Grizzlies trade Desmond Bane and young assets to finally land Mikal Bridges, Miles Bridges, and Mitchell Robinson. And while I'm saying this, I'm now realizing that they're getting both Bridges, which is not intentional. I made this trade myself, so there might be a lot of biases. Maybe the Grizzlies or Hornets fleece or get fleeced, whatever. I think it's a pretty fair trade. So do the Knicks really have a choice? Yes and no. I don't know how Knicks fans will feel about my trades, but one thing I know for certain is that there are teams that can 100% outbid the Knicks on these trade packages. I really think it's up to teams like Houston, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, and Toronto. If everyone is enjoying their current position, then the Knicks can absolutely have a choice. If Milwaukee or Phoenix value already proven prime players over draft picks, they absolutely have a choice. If not, they could end up with neither at the end of the offseason. The final question: which one should the Knicks choose? Honestly, either one would be a very good option. You give up a lot more for Giannis, but he will be great for the next 5 to 6 years, which is years that the Knicks don't own their own picks. Yes, Kevin Durant is old and won't be great for probably more than 2 to 3 years, but you get to keep a lot of pieces around him and Brunson, and as long as he's healthy, they'll be the favorite to make it out of the East. So very slightly, I actually lean KD because I think the East is wide open next year, and if they land a starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Kevin Durant, and Mitchell Robinson, I mean, they can absolutely win it. If y'all enjoyed, please like the video and comment. I know this will be uploaded on like the 10th or 11th, and I said in my last video I would attempt to make 15 videos in June, so the grind really starts now. Subscribe to stay tuned. Peace out.